We always kind of start the podcast pre-show with food talk, right?
Yeah. What do you got for me?
What's your stance on broccoli?
And so I cracked one more egg and I still motherfucker, I kept hearing the chirping, and I got super upset. I got really fucking freaked out and told her, I was like, I'm not fucking with any more of these eggs. I'm not doing this.
Action.
We're out here. Thank you for joining us, everybody. Salt of the Streets podcast pre-show live stream episode 57. My name is Donovan.
I'm Colin.
Thank you again for joining us. We're happy to have you here. I'm pretty sure I'm going to sneeze.
Gesundheit.
My allergies are terrible right now.
Tis the season, my friend.
Excuse me for all the sniffling. I will try and be good about it because I hate that shit. Again, for a third time, thank you for joining us, because I'm pretty sure I do 3 every time. And
it's kind of a staple these days,
yes,
right?
You are watching us here on Facebook at Salt of the Streets on our page, and we are happy to have you here. We're happy to be here. It's been a week. We missed last week, so I can take some time with my family. We'll talk about that later. We have our other social medias behind us. We have our own personal social medias. I am at alpaca_Donovan on Instagram and Salt of the Street on Twitter, and he has that Big Bird Offie on both of those things. Excuse me. What was I saying?
Oh, dude. I'm just trying to get the Facebook thing up and running, and it's frozen. Don't do this to me, Facebook.
No, I'm so sorry. Anyway, we are happy to be here. We got these beers going. We got this huge bong in front of me. It kicked my ass. Allergies are terrible. I was going to say something, and I forgot.
Wonder if that has something to do with the force.
It has to. It has to do something with it. I remember. So this is what I wanted to ask you. Let me ask you this. I was at work the other day, and I was in the kitchen, so I'm back by the sewing area, right? And you know how there are people at work that will do things just to try and get you to notice so they can have a conversation about it?
Yes.
I hate that.
Yeah,
that's my least favorite thing that people do. As a social quirk, I hate that. I cannot stand it, because I'll have a conversation with you I don't know, if for whatever reason you're doing that, you want to share something with me, or there's something you want to know from me, I will share that information with you. I am open enough that you can ask me randomly out of fucking nowhere, hey Donovan, what size shoe do you wear? And I would be like, 14. I would tell you. It's weird, but you know what I'm saying? If you want to ask me, I'll tell you that, or if you just want to be like, hey, I watched this movie last night that, was fucking super random, blah, blah, blah. That's how I started being friends with Ryan. Ryan and I talk about football, movies.
That's a healthy basis for a relationship.
It's great. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
I can't stand it. Yeah. And it was, it was one of the sewers, the one that sits in the very corner by the kitchen, because I don't want to call her out.
Word.
But you know who I'm talking about. And yeah, she was making a noise. I wish I'd paid closer attention, but my point was that when that happens, I will purposefully ignore that person, because I so much detest that. Yeah, I will purposely ignore you. Yeah, so she was making a noise that I knew was strange, and I knew that it was just to try and get me noticed, because she's looking in the kitchen at me, and I'm the only one in there. So
yeah, that's kind of blatant.
I'm not a fan, so I don't do that. I don't do that. Ugh. My allergies I hate this. I'm so unhappy.
I'm so unhappy, right? Do you want a Kleenex?
No, I have one right here. I got my own box right here.
Just gotta make sure you're taken care of, bro.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I appreciate you. What do you said you have some questions for me, right? What do you got?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's because, it's kind of the pre-show new thing is where you always ask me questions.
Wait.
But
before we continue, I needed to tell everybody what you had to eat today.
Word. I had about a half those logs of sausage?
Yeah, like Jimmy Dean sausage?
Yeah.
Okay.
I legit had a half a log of sausage today.
You just broke it up?
Oh, yeah.
And fried it.
It was so good with some sprouted bread toast and some farm fresh chicken eggs from my lovely neighbors next door. They delivered us some fresh chicken eggs.
You mix the sausage with the eggs?
No, this way I did open face sandwich style. 2 pieces of toast.
Yeah.
2 sausage patties, and then an egg on top. Nice and runny and gooey and fantastic.
Word. Okay.
It was pretty great.
That's how Jordan likes her shit with a fried egg on top. It's really shit all the time.
So good.
Yeah. We talk a lot about owning a restaurant, or one day when we'll just say that one day when we own a restaurant, this will be on the menu, and she always talks about serving things Donovan style and Jordan style because there's always like a little bit different, you know.
Word.
Her breakfast shit always has like a fried egg on top of it, regardless of what it is. Like that's one of the things that's added to it.
It's because she knows what she's doing.
Yeah, no, she's good.
Married a smart woman there.
She's great, and she's a fantastic mom. Blog post earlier this week, check that out. It was fantastic. So
on that,
yes,
preemptively, because this is actually the live pre-show.
Yeah.
And if you're listening to this after the fact, I've been putting these things out on Sunday. So happy Mother's Day, everybody.
Happy Mother's Day.
So a big shout out to my mother, your mother, and your baby mama, our lovely, and my puppy mama. No, your mom, my mother-in-law. That was a hole I got in real quick.
Who are you really trying to talk to here? Is it your wife or your mother-in-law?
All mother under the sun here. I was like, wait, did I miss her? I was like, wait, what's going on here? I got a look of disdain in the background. I'm bad words. So yeah, anyways, that's refreshing. Happy Mother's Day, everybody. But I did want, since we always kind of start the podcast pre-show with food talk, right?
Yeah. What do you got for me?
What's your stance on broccoli? Are you a fan?
I can take it or leave it. Jordan loves broccoli.
Good.
Fucking loves it. And I can take it or leave it. It depends on how it's cooked. Like, I don't like steamed vegetables generally, and like I'm not a fan of that, but they're like just like fried up in a pan a little bit, maybe with like a little bit of butter or something. I like that shit, but I don't like the steamed vegetable thing.
Now, when you think steamed vegetable, you think like gooey, bland.
Yeah, they're just not usually.
Just so you know, those are overcooked steamed vegetables.
Word.
A normal steamed vegetable will be kind of al dente,
crisp.
Yeah, it can be a little crisp, and they still have a lot of flavor and bite to them.
Yeah,
but I just somebody brought this up. Shout out Alicia for listening to the show. She was talking about how like broccoli is severely underrated, and I am fully on board that train because I think broccoli's fantastic. And then you got that broccoli rabe, which is like the long, skinny kind of floury broccoli.
That's a really like an Italian thing, right?
Yeah,
very big.
I got way into that when I was living in Long Island, and it's so phenomenal.
Oh,
and now they have riced broccoli.
Yes,
which I don't know if I'm on board with yet. So I got to think about that one.
Since rice, like you put broccoli in a ricer.
It's essentially like just...
Or is this a different vegetable?
Well, it all kind of stemmed from cauliflower, right? Okay. Cauliflower is the main culprit behind the riced vegetable movement here.
Yes.
And it's because of all the people that went like keto or, carbless diets and stuff like this.
Right.
And, you can mash cauliflower in a certain way that it almost kind of... represents potatoes.
You like make pizza crust out of it.
Yeah. Like I've done a lot of crazy stuff with cauliflower, and for a while there, you had to buy a head of cauliflower and essentially take like a cheese grater and then you work with that. But now what's that?
Was that a bitch?
Yeah, it was a nightmare and I hated it. But now they have like riced sweet potato and riced broccoli and all this different thing. And it's just like diced up vegetables, like super, super, super fine.
Yeah.
But they're really good, and it's fun to play around with, at least in the kitchen, because you can do so much with it. But that's where... But yeah, I don't know. I just have this thing, like people always hate broccoli, and you get broccoli stuck in your teeth, which I've literally never seen that in my whole life, other than in like cartoons. But I like broccoli. And especially because broccoli, I don't know where I was going with this.
No,
but
it's perfect.
There's an awesome song that I know you would hate. It's a hip hop song, came out a few years ago by Lil Yachty and Dram, I think, D-R-A-M, called Broccoli. And it's not about broccoli.
No.
But it's about things that might look like broccoli.
Oh. Okay.
But it's kind of that trappy, mumble rap crap that you hate so much.
Well, I will.
Super catchy. Super catchy.
Well, I'll remember that, and I'll try and remember to listen to it.
Word.
Because I care about you.
That's so special. I mean, I have listened to Chance the Rapper because of you, and I've given, what's that guy? I can't remember his name now. Grizzly.
What? Oh, T Grizzly?
T Grizzly.
Yeah.
Yep. Them motherfuckers are hard for me though, dude. That is I gotta be in a special frame of mind to really enjoy that type of music.
I like T-Grizz.
But, I do it for you, baby.
I was listening to Action Bronson on the way here.
Oh, yeah.
Action Bronson. And MF Doom. You ever listen to MF Doom?
Definitely not.
MF Doom raps about food a lot.
Ooh.
Yeah. And I don't know, like, his backstory at all, so I don't know if maybe he was a chef. Like, I know that Action Bronson, before he was a rapper, was a chef and then broke his leg. And in the time that he could not be a chef, he was...
Word. MF Doom.
Yes.
Oh, and he's got like a mask of like Dr. Doom from Spider-Man.
Yeah. Like all the time. Yeah,
Is that Spider-Man?
It's Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four. Sorry. I have to call in my comic book people. I know surface level stuff.
Fantastic Four.
I know all about Endgame that you don't know. And Captain Marvel that you don't know. Or have you seen him?
Actually, I watched a shitty bootleg copy
of
Endgame on my TV at home. So... Boom. Don't laugh at me of Endgame.
Nice.
Yeah, I didn't care to see Captain Marvel, so I'll wait until that comes out. But
I think you don't really need to know much about her, obviously.
I saw and this, from what I understand, this movie is not like the traditional storyline of Captain Marvel anyway. So it's it's only relevant to what they've set up for this. But I don't know the storyline of Captain Marvel, so I can't outline the differences for you.
And I'm not even going to pretend that I have a half a clue about the original one.
I'll find out and I'll tell you. But I did watch Endgame. I watched it with Chinese subtitles, but I did watch it.
Nice.
And it was great.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
We watched it over 3 days because baby. And
it's like 3 hours long.
Yes.
Which was long.
And we watched like half of it. And then Trent came over because it was his birthday. The 29th was Trent's birthday. Happy birthday, Trent.
Happy birthday, Trent.
So he came over and I made him shrimp Alfredo. It was delicious.
Ooh.
And we watched most of Endgame and then we both started to fall asleep on the couch. So he left. And I went.
That happens.
And then Jordan and I finished it the next day. And I was like, excuse me, fuck yeah. It was awesome. Yeah, no, I was super impressed. I love that shit. Definitely cried at the end. We're going to spoil the fuck out of it at the end of the show today.
Mm-hmm.
So if you haven't seen it or, don't know.
And we're also going to be talking Game of Thrones today.
Yep.
So this is your pre-show spoiler alert if you're going to hang out.
Yeah.
It's going to get spoilery, and we don't care about that because we need to talk about these things.
Did you listen to Ben Shapiro this week?
Yes.
Like consistently?
I've been catching up. I actually am almost done with Thursday's show, which I was listening to before you got over here. And then I did listen to Friday's show earlier this morning, actually.
So this was the one that I'm about to ask you about is 773.
773.
Okay. And so that one was from Friday. Was from last Friday.
Okay. Yeah. So...
And it is
last Friday or this Friday?
Last Friday. It is entitled The Great Censorship Debate.
Interesting.
Okay. So in the beginning of this episode of Ben Shapiro's podcast, I did not finish it. I will tell you that now. I did not finish it because I was frustrated with the beginning. He starts talking about, I think, some study or some shit or maybe a talking point that someone was talking about. However, he's talking about how much money people are making in America and jobs and I
vaguely remember this.
And so he's talking about the unemployment rate is at like 3.4%. He's like, that's the lowest it's been since like 1960, what the fuck ever, right?
Yes.
So then he starts talking about how much money people are making.
Mm-hmm.
He says the average salary for someone in America is like $22 an hour.
I remember this.
And I got just immediately fucking frustrated, right? Because I was like, that is the most bullshit argument I've ever heard. And the fact that because it's the same thing that people use to argue generally like for the wage gap, right? Is that, like if you take all of the money that's earned in America and divide it amongst these two parties, this party is making less money than this party. And yeah, if you took all of the money everyone's making in America and you divide it by everybody who has a job, we're making $22 an hour. But fuck no, is that how that works? Because if you take one person who makes $50 an hour and one person who makes no dollars an hour, they're averaging $25 an hour, and that is not reflective of the truth of what's really being made there. And I was fucking shocked that he was even saying that on his podcast.
Because it's so disingenuous. It's like, yes, the statistic is the statistic, but as we've talked about a number of times, how you get to that statistic is more important than the end statistic.
And for someone who talks about like not taxes, stocks, the stock market so often, right? Mm-hmm. He should know that people have been getting more jobs since Trump has been in office, but wages did not start rising until just recently. For a long time, people's wages were not rising.
They're very stagnant.
And he just completely ignores that, because I was shocked. I was truly fucking shocked that that's what he was saying. Because it's so, because I remember now very vividly when I first heard that. I was walking down to my car after working another 11-hour day, and I heard that, and he says, yeah, and Americans, by far, the hours worked went down like 0.6% or something like that. And then average salaries rose. So, yeah, people are working less and getting paid more. And I said, okay, pause the fuck on, because that's not realistic. No.
Yeah, maybe the numbers all trickle out that way, but that's not how you would measure stuff like that.
No, what that says to me, and I believe what is reflective of the truth, is there are more people who are working jobs that are not full-time, and they're not full-time, so they're not guaranteed benefits. That is a long-used tool of the corporate system. So as to not provide people with benefits, they will not give them full time. They'll sit you at 38 hours. So you're not at full time, so they don't have to give you benefits.
Yeah.
Walmart is like one of the fucking worst at that, know, keeping you at 38 or 39 hours. So you can't get benefits, but you got to be there all the time, you know,
which is also why they're so strict about taking your breaks and taking your lunches, because you go over that 38 or whatever it is. And I'm sure it's different in different states, but you're screwed. You can't do that because now you're in violation of the law as a company for not taking care of your employees.
I was shocked. I was really shocked that say what you want about Ben Shapiro, but for the most part, like he's pretty logical about shit,
Yeah.
And to take such an illogical and blatantly, it's like a see-through argument, I was really surprised that he would do that.
To me, it's about as disingenuous as relying on epidemiology studies. For pretty much anything.
Yeah.
I had a nice conversation about epidemiology earlier this week and how it's all just bullshit. Not a fan.
Yeah.
So if you guys don't know, on the real surface, an epidemiology study is essentially a study of other studies to try to correlate different types of data from other studies that have already been done. But the problem is, for anything to be scientific in this world, it all has to be repeatable, provable, and measurable. I can't remember. But either way, it doesn't conform to any standards of a scientific study. So if next time you hear an epidemiology study, you can probably just go ahead and disregard it. It's the same. To give you an example, it's the same reason why, like, every other year we have a new study that comes out that says a glass of red wine a day will prevent heart disease. And then the next year, a glass of red wine will, give you heart disease by 60.
Like
or
eggs.
Chocolate, or all these different things. There is one good thing we know about eggs, specifically salmon eggs.
Yeah.
They make very, very healthy babies.
Yeah. I was just at a couple weeks ago when I was at my friend Cody's engagement party. We're at my friend Isaiah's house, and he had egg whites in his fridge.
Ew.
And I was like, why do you just have egg whites? And he was like, oh, well, like the cholesterol, and I was like, oh, Isaiah. I was like,
can't buy any.
I was like, you don't even need to worry about the cholesterol. Like, first of all, you weigh no pounds. Like, so that's not a concern. Like,
that's true.
Second of all, and I was like, I don't even know that much. But I was like, small particle and large particle. And he was like, I don't even know what you're talking about. I was like, okay, then don't worry about it. Like, if you don't know what I'm talking about, then don't worry about it. Like, Get yourself some regular eggs from like a cage-free fucking chicken, and you're good to go. You know, make yourself happy. Have a fried egg instead of an egg white patty, which is fucking gross. Have a fried egg. You'll be way happier.
Yep. Like, dude, if you're driving around Where's Isaiah live? What state?
He lives here.
lives here.
He was working in San Diego, like for the draft and stuff, but he lives here now. He bought a house.
So when you're driving around and you see a little sign, because 'tis the season right now, that says, farm fresh eggs.
Buy the eggs.
Go and buy them, man.
Yeah.
You crack that egg open, that yolk is like dark orange.
Yeah.
Just full of all sorts of morning glory.
Like a burnt orange or a blood orange. Yeah, it's awesome.
So good.
Not a blood orange. That's very red, but...
Wicked red. Yeah, that's usually a sign you don't want to eat that egg.
Yeah, no. don't do that. That's too dark. But a burnt orange, it's nice.
I cracked open an egg from someone else recently, not my neighbors, but it was another farm, from their chickens and stuff like that. But apparently they had been sitting on this one for a little while. And yeah, you can just imagine the half-formed schmegma that came out of that. And, ooh, dog.
One time, I was trying to make breakfast, and we had just bought like a 18-pack of eggs or whatever. And I cracked like 2 in this bowl, and I started hearing chirping. And I was like,
no.
What the fuck? And I started to look around the house, and I'm standing in the kitchen, and we have like the one window there, and the window was closed, and I was like, what the fuck? And so I cracked one more egg, and I still motherfucker, I kept hearing the chirping, and I got like super upset. I got really fucking freaked out and told her, I was like, I'm not fucking with any more of these eggs. Like, I'm not doing this. So she took the eggs upstairs, and she was pregnant at the time, like halfway through, and took them upstairs to her grandma, and they started cracking them into like a pitcher, like one by one, and they because they heard it too. They brought it upstairs and they heard it too, right? And so they cracked all the eggs one by one into this pitcher, and not fucking one of them had anything in them. Like all totally normal eggs. You know what I'm saying? And I walked all around the house that day, and it was like, she was halfway pregnant, so it was like in the fall, so no birds are laying eggs in the fall. Like, they're not having chicks.
Weird.
Yes. Super weird.
Wow.
All totally normal eggs. It was the weirdest shit.
As long as it didn't detour you from eating more eggs in
because
the future.
After that,
seems creepy as hell.
It was fucked up. It was really fucked up.
Murdering unborn chicken babies. And then go, is this the universe speaking to me?
Yeah, and Jordan said something about, I don't want to like misquote her, but something about, baby chicks having to do with like new life and whatever. And there's, we've talked about weird shit happening in our house before. And so, yeah, that's just one thing, that Jordan was like, it's possible that, something was just manifesting itself in that way so as to acknowledge that it knows that, we're like having a baby or whatever. And I'm like,
yeah, your house is a hotbed for supernatural activity.
Dude, I
don't know what it is.
I don't know.
Oh my God.
It's not my favorite thing, but I have had several conversations with whoever it is that like lives in that house with us, Jordan's grandpa, her grandma, whoever, and just told them like, just don't fuck with me, like just do whatever you're going to do. Like you were here before me and I married into this family. So far be it from me to tell you that you can't be here, but just don't fuck with me. Like, just leave me alone. It just makes me uncomfortable. And I live here now, I'm the one that's currently inhabiting this house, and I don't want to be made uncomfortable because I'm going to be here for the foreseeable future.
I'll take care of your pad for you. It's in good hands. It's not leaving the family, bro. It's all good.
So I finished up. The baby's room is almost finished.
Ooh.
I have like, very little drywall left to do. It's good. It looks fucking awesome.
Yeah.
There's a full wall and a doorway when you walk out into the laundry room. It's weird. It's weird. Yeah. Yep. I'm really excited.
Well, maybe, what were you thinking? Memorial Day weekend, maybe?
Yes, because I was thinking I'm deciding whether or not I need to buy more drywall, right? Because part of it is this huge drywall panel that's over a half of a sheet. And so I have one more full sheet left. And I was talking to Dave yesterday at work, Dave Z, shout out Dave Z. And he told me that he has some drywall at his house. And so if he can give me enough that I don't need to go buy more, then I'm going to do it as soon as he gives it to me. But if I have to buy more, then I also have to like get someone with a truck to go with me because
I got a truck.
Exactly.
I'll hook you up, bro.
Yeah. And so that's my only, and I just hate having to ask someone to take me there. I know that like no one really cares because you would do it,
I would do it just so I have an excuse and because I love you.
Right. But yeah, I just hate having to ask someone to meet me.
I totally get that.
Yeah. So
I totally get that.
I've been looking at trucks lately, but the problem that I ran into is that, or that I'm running into is the truck that I need to purchase or that I will need to purchase has to have 4 doors because it has to put a car seat in the back, and then I want at least a regular sized bed because I don't want a short bed. I want to be able to put shit in it and then put drywall in it with the tailgate down. But then that type of truck is fucking enormous. That's like a truck with 4 doors and a regular sized bed is huge.
It's a tank.
And I hate a motherfucker with a truck like that. And now I have to be that guy so that I can have a truck. But we make enough dump runs and I'm building enough stuff now that I need to have a truck, you know? Because the other day, last weekend, I went and I had to buy like 5 or 6 studs. And then I had to meet Jordan's grandma at Home Depot and I had to buy 6 fucking 2 by 10 by like just enormous boards. And I almost couldn't fit all of that wood in my car. And I was like, if I got pulled over right now, I would definitely get in trouble. Like the cop would be like, I don't know what to write you up as, but you can't be doing this. Like, this is not all right. You can't, like, I
don't know the specific law, but this is not okay.
Yes. Thank you for joining us, Alicia. We're happy to have you.
Alicia.
Happy to hear that you're a fan of the show. Yeah.
You just missed broccoli talk, so you're going to have to catch it on the podcast later.
We did talk about broccoli. My wife is a huge fan. So thank you, Jordan. Will feel very represented today.
I was just going to say, before we go any further, we should probably preview this week's topics.
Yes.
We haven't done that yet.
Yes.
Because we're just sitting here having way too much fun.
Previews, you can ask me that last question, and then we will get the fuck out of here and start the pre-show.
Definitely.
Or start the regular show. So this week on the show, we are going to talk in length about the Mueller report and Bill Barr and his testimony and
all the
process of him being held in contempt of Congress. So we're going to talk about all that. We're going to talk about Venezuela.
Indeed.
And the insanity that is going on there. And we're going to talk Game of Thrones. We are going to talk about Endgame, Iran. Yep, I forgot about that. We're going to talk about a little bit about Iran. And sports, Seahawks. We got some motherfuckers going. NBA playoffs are happening right now, so we're going to go over that. I haven't watched any, but we're going to talk about it. Talk about the Mariners a little bit.
Boom.
And we're going to get the fuck out of here.
So that's going to be a good show.
Yes.
And so kind of in the realm of what we're going to talk about later, I would like to know what your view is on the morality and ethics of economic sanctions. Because I think you could see where this is going to go later.
Right. Because there are definitely two sides, not to sound like a politician, but there are certainly two sides to that argument that people on one side believe that the sanctions in Venezuela, for example, are directly impacting Maduro and his ability to gain money from any oil or anything like that. But then there is another side that is Jeremy Scahill, maybe, that believes that those sanctions only impact the people of that country and denies them aid and denies them ability to do anything because they don't have any money flowing through the country.
So where are you at personally?
I feel like in a capitalist society, it wouldn't be as big of a deal as it is in a socialist society, right? Like where you have, like in Venezuela, when you have the government that is running everything, then no one has anything because the government doesn't have any money, But if you were to place sanctions on a capitalist society, then there's at least some money still flowing through the country, through other economy, other commerce. That's what I'm looking for. That is happening through small business, through whatever, But like I say, in a country like Venezuela, everything is run by the government. No one has anything. But that was being done before the sanctions were placed on Venezuela. I mean, people were starving there before there was any sanctions, So I think that it's case by case. Again, not to sound like a politician, but but
it kind of is.
It is case by case. I think it's not something that I could place a blanket like, oh no, I'm against sanctions totally, you know, because I think in some cases that's the way to go. It is not generally the right way to go for America to militarily intervene or intervene in really any way in a country, you know, but sanctions is an easy way for us to kind of slap someone on the wrist and be like, enough of this shit, you know, before shit gets crazy, and let's be done with this, you know.
Interesting. I think that's a good way to look at it, because,
or at least how it should be.
Yeah. Cause the way I look at it, excuse me, when you're talking sanctions, right? There is, obviously, like you said, there's two prongs to an economic sanction on a foreign nation, right? There's obviously the geopolitical strategy aspect of it, the putting pressure on another government to conform to something in some way, to punish them for some reason. And then, but regardless of whatever the reason is, there is going to be, in most cases, a trickle-down effect that affects the everyday citizens, which is, again, part of the deterrent factor of putting sanctions on a nation. I think you could look to North Korea as a good example of that one. I mean,
because if you care about your people, you won't want the sanctions implemented on your country.
Yeah. Which is dirty, but again, if you're talking Iran or North Korea or Maduro in Venezuela, you, as a nation in the realm of geopolitics, that is a good move to do.
Yeah.
But then, regardless, if they're stubborn, they can also point the finger at you and say, "Hey, you're starving our people. You're making it so that we can't do anything here," and it can go both ways.
Right.
So it's a very muddy situation.
It is almost a psychological tool by the U.S. For the people, you know, for the citizens of that country, for them to be able to see whether or not the government actually cares about them, whether or not that leader actually cares about them. You know. That's very interesting.
I like it. Boom.
Yep. All right. So that's it. That is it for this week. Again, thank you for joining us on our Facebook live stream at Salt of the Streets. We have our own personal social medias. I am at alpaca_Donovan on Instagram and Salt of the Street on Twitter. He is at Big Bird Offie on both those things. We also have our Salt of the Streets Instagram, saltofthestreets.com for everything. Salt of the Streets YouTube, all of our videos, all of our everything. It's fantastic. Thank you. It was a great pre-show. It's going to be a good episode. Have a good weekend. Happy Mother's Day, everybody.
Happy Mother's Day.